there's a few things that need to be stated throughout the course of this production. However, I don't intend to be too long with this, but either way, I would advise every one of you to listen to me very carefully. Before I get started with this production, let me run down my usual formation. For those of you who are watching this production, then I want you to start off by getting my likes up, give me the big thumbs up. Furthermore, share this production. As I've continued to tell you throughout the intro of these productions, that YouTube has placed this channel under a shadow ban, which has hindered my growth as far as views and subscriptions are concerned. And I have not moved beyond 20,800 subscribers since late 2020. And last but not least, for those who would like to show support for the productions made on this channel, then you can feel free to do so via the links in the description box. Now, with that being stated, we've seen some of the crashing out and burning over the recent election of Kamala Harris losing in a landslide. We now know that Joe Biden has pardoned his son for up to 10 years. And now I'm hearing rumors that I'm talking about giving these blanket pardons for a whole bunch of other people, which most likely is going to happen. Which only goes to show that Joe Biden is the most corrupt president that I've ever seen in my lifetime. Him pardoning his son is something that I'm not even surprised about, because I knew he was going to do it. So when he said he wasn't going to do it, and then all of a sudden he just blatantly does a complete 180, contradicting himself, just blatantly lying to the American people. That should serve as no surprise to anybody. I mean, after all, this is the same man who stated he wasn't going to mandate the vaccines back when he first won office. Then 9 months down the line, tells people either get the vaccine or lose your job. I mean, for those of you who would expect anything less out of Joe Biden at this point in time, if you haven't learned or you haven't picked up on patterns, then right there what that confirms for me is that you lack foresight. I don't take anything serious that comes out of this man's mouth. As I've told y'all, this is the most corrupt president that I've ever seen in my lifetime. And I'm more than glad and delighted to see him and Kamala Harris go. This was the most embarrassing presidential election that I've ever seen in over 4 decades of living on the face of this planet. So when people are now sitting around crashing out and burning, you got people on mainstream media crashing out and burning. You have a host of people going out here crashing out for Joe Biden. I'm trying to figure out why. Why? Now I'm going to talk about 2 people in particular. One, Roland Bussy Martin, and the other one, Down Low D.L. Hughley. Because to sit back and watch these 2 crash out and burn over Kamala Harris, this tells me something right here, and this is pretty much to anybody who feels some kind of way that Kamala Harris lost the election, as if she ever had a chance in winning to begin with. I told y'all before, months ago, she had absolutely no chance in beating Donald Trump. It wasn't going to happen. And that the only way, if they somehow managed to pull a victory off by the hairs of their chinny chin chin, would have been to convince people that she has this overwhelming support that she never had. This is why they kept telling you all of this surge in support, this surge in everything that's going on for Kamala Harris, this bump, and all these people are energized and excited. No, they were trying to convince you that she had the momentum that was never behind her. And like I told y'all, 2 + 2 = 4. You don't take the most unliked politician in this country, who is the current sitting vice president, who ran, 5 years ago for office, failed miserably, the first one to drop out before a single vote was ever casted. And now what was one of the things that they were saying at that time? When I first heard about Kamala Harris back then, this was 2019, they introduced her as not only the first black female candidate, but having the strongest chance of winning the presidential election. This is what they stated about her. Then it came out that she outraised everybody else. when it came down to the donors. I found that strange. And then what was she stating when she dropped out? That she's not a billionaire. She can't afford to fund her own campaign. Well, wait a second. I thought you outraised everybody else. What the hell happened to that money? Now we're finding out that Kamala Harris is in over $1 billion, or I think close to $1.5 billion in debt. Because she outraised Donald Trump. And it just goes to showcase, boy, wow. Oh, God. This needs to tell you a lot about this society. That you had billionaires going out here donating all of this money to Kamala Harris. Now, unless there was some nefarious agenda, which it pretty much all is nefarious, but unless they had some ulterior hidden motive that they're not telling people, it just goes to show you where their lack of intelligence is. That anybody who could go out here and support this failing, empty suit, such as Kamala Harris, you have to be a complete fucking idiot to go out here and support her. To give your money, to put billions, and then watch her frivolously waste the goddamn money. This is just an example of why she should have never been president to begin with. And I'm glad that that's not going to come into fruition. You couldn't even manage your own campaign. How the hell are you going to manage the finances of this country? A lot of y'all would sit out here and vote for people who are completely incompetent, empty suits, people who should never be in positions of power to begin with. But like I said, getting back to the billionaires that donated all of this money to Kamala Harris, and now they're saying reports that they're upset with her because they didn't get the result that they were expecting. This just goes to let you know their lack of foresight. When anybody, a 2-year-old, could have told you that she wasn't going to win. She didn't have a chance in hell at winning. I've showcased the screenshots of receiving messages from her Facebook page. Just based off of me putting a comment in one of her posts, talk about, no, I'm not supporting her. And then to immediately receive a message afterward, that should tell you enough. Are you going to support me, friend? No. I have never been messaged by any political campaign or candidate in all of my years of being on social media. So to receive a direct message asking me, am I going to support you? That right there in itself was odd. But I don't want to get too long-winded, but I will say this much here. We've seen the celebrities going out and endorsing Kamala Harris. A lot of y'all got an idea of why that is. You know the whole Diddy stuff has come up, and there's names in that list who have attended those parties, and now they're trying to cover their ass. So, whether you like the motive or not, you can at least see that there's a motive behind why some of them are doing what they're doing. This is not about whether it's morally right or correct or wrong. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is you can see that there is a legitimate motive. When you see somebody like Jennifer Lopez going out here and endorsing Kamala Harris, and then come to find out, yeah, you were rocking with Diddy back in 2000. Your name might appear on some of them tapes as well. But let me digress from that. But the point is, like I said, we can see that there are people who have some type of motive as of why they're doing what they're doing, and why they're supporting Kamala Harris or have supported Kamala Harris. And maybe came out one time and say, okay, I endorse Kamala Harris, and this is why you should too, and have said nothing more about it. There have been a host of celebrities who have done this. And then you have others that the reason that they're doing this is because they're on permanent life support. You pretty much can put them in the same category as the Transformers out of the Alphabet City community. That once they start going through with the hormone blockers, the puberty blockers, or even going through with the surgeries, that you now become a permanent patient of the doctors. That you are on permanent support or life support pretty much to their medications. You need that now in order to survive. And this is essentially what you have when it comes down to people or a certain segment of individuals who went out here and supported Kamala Harris and still continue to do so to this day. Because the question is this: why would anybody with half a functional brain, look at Kamala Harris and risk it all to go out here. And it's one thing to endorse her. You had Usher, who they brought to the View, and they tried to get him to start trashing Trump supporters, and he was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say I endorse. At first, I don't even believe he had stated who he was going to endorse. And then he eventually came out and endorsed Kamala Harris, and he left it alone. You had Beyonce, okay, who went out here and endorsed Kamala Harris publicly, left it alone. Meg Thee Stallion, who performed for Kamala Harris, left it alone. Kelly Rowland. You had a bunch of people come out here and publicly endorse Kamala Harris. Now, whether you agree with their endorsement or not, that's beyond the point. The point that I'm trying to get at here is that notice how they did what they did, right? And then you take a look at someone like Roland Bussy Martin, down low D.L. Hughley, two soft, sassy, effeminate, milquetoast dudes. Listen, man. I'm gonna just go ahead and say this. I've never liked D.L. Hughley, even when he had his sitcom. I never watched him. So to even put him in the same category with the kings of comedy is like, who the fuck? Come on, man. All right, the people I remember watching back in the days when I wanted to watch a good sitcom was Martin Lawrence, Jamie Foxx, and the Wayans brothers. These are the three I can think of over the top of my head. These sitcoms were hilarious. I never gave a damn about D.L. Hughley. He always just seemed like some weird, goofy dude that I'm not rocking with him. Likewise, when it comes down to Steve Harvey. I mean, I watched his show from time to time, but I didn't find it funny. I mean, so when they put these clowns in the Kings of Comedy category with Bernie Mac, no, stop. But it just goes to show you when you look at who's willing to sell their soul and for what price. You have inflated numbers, right? And then you have authentic numbers. And when you look at this, when you look at the people who have endorsed Kamala Harris and you factor in every last one of them and look at what each person, the percentage that each and every one of them had received for this endorsement of Kamala Harris and how far they had to go or how little they had to do in order to be compensated substantially compared to those who get nothing out of it or got very little out of it, got some crumbs flicked at them. It just goes to let you know they're authentic numbers. I don't give a damn about how many views you get on social media. I don't care about how many subscriptions you have because that can all be inflated. You could have a bunch of subscribers that are not even real people subscribe to your channel just to make it seem as if, oh, well, you got this large audience following you. And there is a segment of people that you can at least give a level of respect to because you know they at least are being more strategic. And then there's people that you can say you can give no respect to. Because a common sense question would be, okay, you get it, or I get it. Some of these people are, you've sold your soul. So you got no choice but to go ahead and endorse who they tell you to endorse if you don't want your name coming up in certain documents or indictments. So you got no choice but to get out here and listen, man, go sell the soap. But there's a segment of people who are smarter about doing so. They're more strategic. You know when you're dealing with somebody who lacks foresight and when somebody actually has foresight. You got a segment of individuals, Roland Bussy Martin and download D.L. Hughley. When you think about these two in particular, there's either one of two conclusions or if not both that I come to when it comes down to these two. Either number one, you lack foresight and critical thinking, and this is how you could get out here and back Kamala Harris to where you showcase your undying support for her. Or number two, you were in such dire straits and financial desperation that you were doing whatever it takes to hope that you could get some crumbs flicked at you. Now, my conclusion is this. It's probably both. Because the common sense thing would be is this. Who would go out here and take a risk of their entire career to literally crash with this sinking ship? I mean, first they were going ahead before they pulled Joe Biden out of the goddamn race, and they were crashing and burning over Joe Biden. The question is, when you look at Joe Biden, you look at this deteriorating corpse that sits in the White House. He is the most corrupt president that I've ever seen in my lifetime. Why Barack Obama would choose him as his running mate? Well, I guess when you were as corrupt as Joe Biden, and I guess we know Barack Obama, I mean, we could say the same about him. But anyhow, let me digress from that. But when you look at Joe Biden, does this man look like somebody who inspires you? Tell me anybody that you know that says, I want to be like Joe Biden when I grow up. There's plenty of people, iconic people, that are deceased, but people can say, oh yeah, I wanted to be like that person when I grew up. Or that man inspired me, or that woman. There's plenty of people who have done this. Joe Biden isn't one of them. Because like I just stated a little while ago, tell me who do you know that wants to be like Joe Biden when they get older? That can look at him and say that that's a strong image of an outstanding man. No, this is a weak, frail, decrepit has-been. When you look at him, you know he's already got 2 feet in the goddamn grave. He's got more years behind him than he does in front of him. This is just what we're looking at when it comes down to Joe Biden. And the reason why I bring this up about Joe Biden is because someone who knows what his circumstances are, and that, listen, you ain't got that much time left. You're not going to shame somebody like Joe Biden. This is why he has no problem having these gaffes, fumbling all over the goddamn place, falling up the stairs, making a complete fucking fool out of himself. It doesn't embarrass him. Because at some point when you get to that age, and just as an example, there's nothing else that you look forward to. A couple of weeks ago, I think it was maybe a day or two before Thanksgiving, I bumped into a resident that used to live, or still does live, in one of the buildings that I used to take care of back when I was a superintendent. I remember her for years, and we're talking about, this was over 20 years ago when I first met her, when I first started working there. I remember her moving out of the building and then coming back to the building. But when I bumped into her, we spoke for a little bit, and she mentioned, yeah, I'm just trying to keep everything afloat right now. Everything is so expensive, but I'm just trying to keep my head above water, and I'm just, I'm to the point where I'm waiting for the maker to take me home. What did she mean by that? She done did it all. She has nothing else to look forward to other than meeting the Lord itself. For those of y'all that believe in that, which apparently she does. So she's not looking forward to go traveling, or let me go ahead and start my career, let me go get a college degree, or let me go buy my first home. No, she's like, listen, man, I'm pretty much waiting to be put in the ground. I'm so old. Listen, it's just time to take me out. I just want a peaceful transition. Well, she didn't say that, but I'm just going ahead and just kind of just paraphrasing to a degree. So when you get to that age, nothing really bothers you. And it's the same thing when it comes down to Joe Biden. When you look at this guy, you know what you're looking at. You know his better years are not in front of him. And as I told you, he's already got 2 feet in the goddamn ground. It's just a matter on his... Y'all know what it is. I ain't even got to go ahead and say this shit. So the point is, Joe Biden has nothing else to look forward to. Joe Biden has no problem doing whatever he needs to do just to get by and to get his son or his family by. So if that means he has to lie to the American public, he will do so. This is also another reason why you don't put somebody like this in the White House, because he has nothing to lose. You can't shame this man. Well, with Joe Biden, you said you wasn't going to pardon your son. All of a sudden, now you're pardoning your son. And he'll give you some mediocre answer if he even responds at all. He might just turn around and walk away with his decrepit old self. Because why? Shaming him doesn't mean anything to him. He doesn't have any integrity. For what? I'm getting ready to check out any goddamn way. So it don't matter what y'all say about me. Y'all can laugh at me, joke about. Hey, I could care less. That's really what it is. So you're not going to shame him into anything that you want him to do. You're not going to play the moral high ground with him and think that's going to work because he has nothing to lose. At his advanced age, it's just a matter of, okay, when am I going to lay down for my final time and that's it and never open my eyes again? That's really what it is. And once you look at it from that perspective, you know that Joe Biden is a sinking ship. He will go down as the worst president in the history of this nation. And the scary part is he can care less. So it doesn't matter how corrupt he appears to be, what terrible decisions he keeps on making, he can care less. It's not going to impact me. I already got 2 feet in the ground. And once you look at it from that perspective, you then ask the question, why is it that anybody will go out their way to back this man? To go caping hard in the paint. And listen, I understand that you bootlicks and shills got a fucking job that you have to do. I see, I get it. Not saying that I agree with it, but I can see the motive. But to watch y'all crash out and burn over somebody who is already done for. He is already checked out as far as I'm concerned. And when he checks out, you still got to find a way to survive. That's the crazy part. This is why it doesn't make any goddamn sense. You still have a name to uphold for yourself. And what you are doing is you are going down with that ship. Which makes absolutely no sense. And I'm talking about Roland Martin, D.L. Bussy Hughley. I mean, just a host of it. But like I said, these are the two that I'm going to address in this production. Now, you have countless other people who went out here and endorsed Kamala Harris. You have Charlemagne the God, who goes out here and endorsed Kamala Harris. But he is also critical of Kamala Harris. Now, regardless of whatever y'all think his motives are or not, I can tell you this much. What Charlemagne the God is doing, and even Stephen A. Smith, I don't respect neither of these two, neither do I like any of them. But I can say they are a bit more or way more strategic than somebody like a Roland Bussy Martin. Someone like a dumbass, down-low D.L. Hughley. Because they're playing smart. They know at some point, okay, listen, we still got to play ball. Hell, what was it? On MSNBC, you had Joe Scarborough and Monica Brzezinski go to Mar-a-Lago to meet up with Donald Trump. These have been his biggest critics. But realize, okay, he's going to be the president. We better learn how to play ball because our long-term sustainability depends on it. I don't like neither of these two, but I see why they did what they did. See, when you want long-term sustainability, you got to be smart about what you're doing. So we've seen Stephen A. Smith criticize on Joe, but pretty much just go in on him for pardoning his son. And if I were a betting man to ask who gets paid more money, whether it be, I'm not even going to put Roland Martin in that category because they flip the crumbs at him whenever they're ready to. But I would say that Stephen A. Smith probably makes way more money than D.L. Hughley. I would probably say Charlemagne the God makes more money than D.L. Hughley. We most certainly know they make more money than Roland Bussy Martin. But what is the reason for this? I want y'all to think about something. See, D.L. Hughley, what did he profess not too long ago? That what he stated about Kamala Harris questioning her background of arresting black people when she was a prosecutor in California. He stated he got the information wrong because he was going in on her at one point. I got the information wrong. And he said he apologized and he's going to continue to apologize. So pretty much letting it be known that he's going to go on an apology tour. That he's going to go out here and put on his pom-poms and cheerleading skirts and go out here and be a little cheerleader for Kamala Harris. That you're going to get taken on a goddamn tour. Showcase who's in charge here. Whose ass you kissing. Whose ring you bent the knee to and kissed. This is essentially what we're dealing with. So when you look at somebody like a D.L. Hughley, yeah, you got the question, yeah, you're probably not making the same money as Roland Bussy Martin, but Charlemagne the Fraud and Stephen A. Smith. You see, these people aren't afraid to a degree to call out Joe Biden as well as Kamala Harris. We've seen them both do it. So to a degree, they understand, listen, if I go down this path, with two candidates who are nothing more but sinking ships. And anybody who looks at Kamala Harris, let me just say this much, because we've seen a couple of, about 2 weeks ago, she came out of hiding for the first time and gave a speech. And she looked drunk as all hell, possibly high. I mean, it was a complete disaster. Now, the question you would have to ask is, what advisors would encourage her to go out here and make a complete goddamn fool out of herself like this? They would probably say, listen, do this another time. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this is pre-recorded. Why would you put this out here? Some of y'all are wondering this. Well, here's my assumption. The same way you've seen celebrities coming out here and endorsing her because they know, okay, my name might show up on a Diddy list somewhere. They got a price to pay. So they know they better go out here and do something. Kamala Harris raised over $1 billion in her campaign. That doesn't come for free, is what I'm going to tell you. And when you have billionaire donors who have sent this kind of money to her and expecting her to get not only to the finish line, but over the finish line, and she failed miserably, got spanked in a landslide loss. Yeah, there's a price to pay on that. You got to pay that back. And you got to pay that back with interest. And hell, they probably know, okay, you ain't got the money to pay us back. We're going to extract it in other ways. We own your ass. And what we're going to do, listen, they're talking about her running for governor of California. They're also talking about her possibly running in 2028. Now, there's no fool that would come out here and think that she stands a chance in running. After having this landslide loss, it's over for her politically. The donors know this. So why would they even put rumors out here, put rumblings out here? Well, she might run again for governor or run again in 2028. No, I don't think that's what it is. Well, no. Let me rephrase that. I believe, let me say this. It would not surprise me if she did run for governor and lost miserably, and then ran out here for president again in 2028 and lost miserably. We all know pretty much what D.L. Hughley admitted is that he's going to go on a humiliation tour for Kamala Harris. We know they love putting these people on humiliation rituals. We put all this hype into you. We put all this money into you. We put all these resources into you, and you failed miserably. We know you're not going to be able to financially pay us back, so we're going to get our lick on you one way or another. Yeah, you're drunk making that video. Yeah, if you drunk, high, inebriated, get your ass on camera and make that fucking video, and we're putting it out here live. This is a humiliation ritual. The drunker you are, the more incoherent you are, the more intoxicated, whatever, the better it is for us, because we're going to get our rocks off on you one way or another. So what I really believe that this is a humiliation ritual. Don't be surprised if you see more of this coming out, because no advisor is going to allow their candidate to come out here and do what she did. Especially if that was a pre-recording, you could have just said, okay, we'll just make another one and we'll put that out here. And that's going to be the speech that you get. No, they put that out there deliberately. So it would not be to my surprise if she does run for governor of California and gets spanked in another landslide, and then runs again in 2028 for president and gets spanked in another landslide. And it wouldn't surprise me if this went on for 2 more election cycles. Because this is just the way I'm seeing it. We put all of this into you. You failed miserably. You are nothing more but an empty suit. Therefore, there's a price to pay behind that. We don't give you nothing for free. Just like when y'all see these goofy rappers come out of here out of nowhere. People like Ice Spice and Sexy Red. A bunch of buffoonish rappers that have no talent, but yet you making it blowing up in the damn charts. It's not based off of talent. They're putting this behind you. And guess what? There is a return on this investment. You don't get this for free. You got to go out here and be a complete degenerate. You got to go out here and be willing to straight up humiliate yourself. Get on that humiliation ritual. Make these stupid music songs about nonsense. Go out there and twerk. Make your butt cheeks clap. in front of the whole damn world. Showcase that you how much of a degenerate you are willing to be to get what we're giving you. This is just my personal opinion. And it would not surprise me if this is exactly what's happening to Kamala Harris right now. She's probably under a lot of pressure. She's probably stressed out. And yeah, with her being drunk on video, that doesn't surprise me. Yeah, there's a whole lot on your plate right now that you got to deal with. Oh, you can't pay us back that money that we donated to you? Okay, we're going to get the lick on you another way. This is what you got to do then. We can let this slide, but it don't come for free. You're going to have to get your ass out here and embarrass yourself. So now the question is, this is what happens when you stand on no integrity and no morals, no principles, when you are just willing to be a puppet, this is exactly what Kamala Harris is a fucking tool, a puppet. She ain't making no damn decisions, and has she gotten in that White House, she's not calling any shots. So I don't know why any of y'all would think that somehow by putting her in the White House that things would have been better. She's not running anything. And you know when somebody actually has pull and say so, when they can say, hey, I actually got some say so over what I do, when you are a complete controlled puppet. I want you to take a look at how when you stand on some level of integrity, how you get a higher level of respect compared to Download D.L. Hughley and Roland Bussy Martin, which are probably two individuals who had, well, Roland Bussy Martin had the smallest amount of crumbs flicked at him. He was paid $350,000, which if you're talking about an average worker to earn up to $350,000 a year, being whether it be blue collar or white collar, okay, that's pretty good. That's damn good, as a matter of fact. But if you're talking about someone who's supposed to be getting money from you by the DNC, that's pennies. The smallest amount of money he got paid. Al Sharpton only got $500,000. A bootleg and a control tool that they've had in their back pocket for decades. But since they know that you're easy, and I don't know what if Download D.L. Hughley got anything. He probably got nothing. Just get your ass out here and cape for us, and we ain't gonna give you a goddamn thing. Because they got no respect for you. And these are the individuals who went out there and caped for Kamala Harris the most. Think about that for a second. Now, Beyonce, Meg Thee Stallion, went out and gave a performance and gave her endorsement of Kamala Harris. You haven't seen her, at least not what I've seen. It's her getting on social media and talking about or shaming people for not wanting to vote for Kamala Harris. You ain't seen that. You ain't seen her crashing out and burning. They gave their one-time endorsement and left it alone. Got their bag and they kept their mouth shut. Beyonce came out and gave a 4-minute speech, didn't even have to perform, and what we're understanding is that she got a bag of over $10 million. $10 million to give a 4-minute speech. Now, what I'm saying is this: you ain't got to like these individuals. You ain't got to agree with them morally. But I want you to understand, these people weren't willing to go out here and be endless shills for the DNC. They gave their one-time endorsement, they got their bag, they went back to wherever they mansions and kept their mouth shut. Which is what they should have done. Which is the same thing that Roland Bussy Martin should have done. The same thing that Download D.L. Hughley should have done. But notice how they've done the least. Oprah Winfrey, which I haven't seen her getting on social media, giving endorsements to Kamala Harris. Of course, they gave her their endorsement and they keep their mouth shut. But they're out here shaming black men, talking all this foolishness. You don't see that. Now, even what was it, Usher? When they brought him on The View, initially, I don't even think he gave his endorsement of Kamala Harris. Or he gave his endorsement, but he said, I'm not going to go ahead and start talking about people who are going to vote Republican. The point that I'm trying to say is I'm not here to give any credit to any of these people, because we know they're all bought and paid for, but they stood on just a bit more integrity. To the point where, listen, okay, I can give my endorsement, but I don't have to attack anybody else in order to do so. And these people were compensated and paid millions. They were compensated handsomely Compared to somebody like Luther Campbell, that jackass. I mean, come on, these old washed up has-beens. Download D.L. Hughley, Roland Bussy Martin. These are individuals that nobody respects. And the overall point that I'm trying to get at in this production is these people were willing to go out here and literally jeopardize their integrity for an empty suit such as Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Kamala Harris, whose political career is finished, it's over. She will never recover from this ever again. And Joe Biden, a deteriorating has-been who's already got 2 feet in the damn grave. I mean, this is who they were willing to go ahead and burn their whole house of cards down for. I mean, it makes no sense. And like I said, anybody knows that this is going nowhere. This is the Titanic, a sinking ship. Don't go on board of it. But hey, what you have out of these individuals, they were willing to go ahead and just destroy their credibility, destroy their integrity, and they got the least amount for it. What do they say about white supremacy? When it's done with its tools, it always breaks its tools. There's an example. There's no greater example than D.L. Hughley and Roland Martin. This is what happens when you're not respected. And see, they know they got these individuals in their back pocket, so they don't respect them. They don't come to them for anything. And it's kind of like, you got, let's say you at a club and you're trying to find something to take down for the night. You know what I mean? You had a couple of drinks in the system. You're looking for attractive females to bring home or whatever. You're just trying to take something down. And there's nights when you have success and there's other nights when you have no success. But you always know you got that one female that's always readily available for you, that you can have at your discretion. And the only time you actually would take it down is on extremely desperate nights. Hell, you might have nights when you're completely unsuccessful and you're trying to get up in something and then you realize, I got no luck. That one, she's over there. You know what? I'm going to just go the hell home. I ain't even going to bother with it. And let's just say if 10 times that you don't have success being able to take something down at the club, maybe 2 or 3 times out of those desperate moments, you might take down that one that's always readily available to you. That's exactly where Roland Bussy Martin stands and Download D.L. Hughley stands, and even Luke. The DNC knows that they got these Negroes in their back pocket. And even on the most desperate nights, they still will be reluctant to take it down. They know at any given time they can run up in these fools and use them any way they feel fit. This is why they gave you the least amount. Now, some of these females are getting 5-star meals and being treated and wine and dine to all kinds of expensive shit just so these dudes can take it down. But you, on the other hand, will be lucky if you can even get a McDonald's Happy Meal. This is the category that these individuals fit in. You were so readily available, so eager to please, so eager to go down with this ship. They have no value in you. They place no value in you. This is why they got in the least amount of money, because they're not respected. But those on the other hand that said, listen, okay, if I'm going to sell my soul, it's going to cost you a bit of money. You ain't going to get me to go out here and endorse you if you're not paying me millions of damn dollars, and that's just to give you a damn speech. You want me to perform, that's going to be an additional 10 mil. You see, this is how these individuals look at stuff. This is how Beyonce looked at things. This is how Oprah Winfrey looked at things. People who are already billionaires are saying, nah, I need multi-millions of dollars before I can get up here and do any endorsement for you. But the ones who are out here caping the hardest on their platforms, pushing and trying to go out here, it was Roland Bussy Martin went out here and helped to raise millions of dollars for Kamala Harris. Tell me where you seen Beyonce raising millions of dollars for Kamala Harris. She didn't raise a damn dime for her. As a matter of fact, she took money from her. I need $10 million to get out here and give you this 4-minute speech and then walk off the goddamn stage. I mean, come on, man. This is embarrassing. So you have a segment of people, like I said, this is not a matter of whether they're morally correct or not. That's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm talking about people that say that, listen, I'm not going to go out here and cape for no damn reason, and there's only going to be but so much cape, and I'm going to come out here and endorse you for 4 minutes and get paid over $10 million for a 4-minute endorsement. Tell me, where do you see Beyonce going on public platforms caping for Kamala Harris? Getting on her social media, caping for Kamala. You don't see this shit. She's not doing it. Attacking other black women who question Kamala Harris's ethnic background. You haven't seen this out of her. But you have seen this out of D.L. Hughley. Attacking Janet Jackson. Attacking her look. Just some sassy, effeminate, buck-broken shit. This is what we're dealing with. But these individuals are not respected. And see, this is what happens when you stand on no integrity. When you are willing to sell your soul for so cheap, guess what? You get nothing for it in return, or you get the bare minimum. Roland Bussy Martin had only $350,000 flicked at him. And what is he always doing when you look at Roland Bussy Martin? He's always begging for money. Spend money with black media. Okay, stop. Guy, we know what time it is with you. And this is what lets you know where they really rank. This is what lets you know how good of a comedian was D.L. Hughley really. Was he ever really a good comedian to be put in a category of the kings of comedy? No. The joke is D.L. Hughley and always has been D.L. Hughley. This is why he has to sit on this platform caping away for her. These failed comedians, these people who are jokes, washed up, probably broke as all hell. Desperate for money, begging for money. These are people who are on constant life support. And I want y'all to think back to the analogy that I made a little while ago. When it comes down to people from the Transformer community, out of that Alphabet City community, how once they start going ahead and taking the hormone blockers, you are now permanently subsidized by the doctors. You are dependent on their medications. You are dependent on whatever they have to do to keep your ass sustainable. Because once you do this, this is irreversible. You can't come back from this. So now guess what? We got you as our permanent slave. And anytime we decide to cut the spigot on you, you're done. And this is exactly, and I'll be damned if this is not exactly what's taking place with Download D.L. Hughley and Roland Bussy Martin and a host of other buffoonish ass Negroes. You've seen some of the nonsense they were coming out here with. This is what lets you know who's still relevant and who's not relevant. Luther Campbell, your relevance is done. You're finished. You're done. When you see him getting out here talking about black man, I'm going to give you until Monday to go come back to the Democrats. Stop. You're done. You're finished. Your credibility, shot. You're on life support. You're looking to be subsidized. That's the only way you're going to make it out here is by being subsidized by the DNC. Now, Beyonce, Meg Thee Stallion, no, they ain't got to do that. They can still go out here and sell concerts. They can still go out here and sell out tickets. They could go ahead and drop a single tomorrow and it makes millions. Regardless of whether you like them or not, they're not being subsidized by the DNC. They actually have raw talent. And this isn't a matter of me giving them credit because they're all in the same fucking category. But you know who are the real talented ones versus those who never had talent to begin with. And when you think about Luke, all he did was make a bunch of freak-off songs. He's not a lyricist. He's not a rapper. He's not a singer. He's not, does R&B, none of the above. Anybody, you could get anybody to get on the stage and say, don't stop, get it, don't stop, get it, do the brown, do the brown. That ain't nothing. Come on, man. It takes no talent to do that. How many of y'all remember the song when he got at Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg? Now, when you've seen that song by that video, because I looked at it a couple of years ago, did you actually see him in a song writing rhymes or literally getting at them? No, he got other people to do the songs for him that were rapping for him. Because why? He's not a lyricist. He can't do anything but just do a chorus, a hook, repeating himself over and over again. That's where your talent lies. You have no talent. This is the reason why he had to go do the freak-off videos that he was doing. Because that's the only way you're going to remain relevant. Put some ass in the video, have a bunch of bimbos shaking it around. Okay, you might get some eyes looking at it like that. But as far as on your own talent, nobody's buying your albums. You don't see Snoop Dogg getting out here doing this shit. Because why? He actually has talent in the field that he's a part of. You don't see Dr. Dre getting out doing shit like this. Why? Because they actually have talent. Despite the fact that Beyonce endorsed Kamala Harris, you ain't seen her attacking other people for not endorsing her. Why? Because she actually has talent. You didn't see Usher going out here, even though he endorsed Kamala Harris, you ain't see him attacking others. Why? Because he actually has talent. They could go out here and produce an album, and the album will sell itself. Luke? No. Who the hell's going to listen to him? He's done. Roland Martin, ever since he got fired from CNN, he's been struggling ever since. D.L. Hughley, who the hell talks about him? To put him in the same category as Bernie Mac. Stop. You don't see nobody else doing this. You know, it's one thing to go out here and endorse somebody, to say, okay, this is who I'm going to support. This is the reason why I'm going to support them. And this is the reason why I think you should support them. And leave it at that. It is another thing when you go on a rampage and start attacking others who say, no, I'm not voting for Kamala Harris. No, I'm not going to support that candidate, and here are my reasons why. And instead of respecting that and saying, okay, I'm going to have to respectfully agree to disagree, no, you go in on an effeminate tangent. Yeah, they're crashing out and burning because they know you don't have any talent to go out here and sustain yourself. So the only way you're going to get a check sent your way is by bootlicking, buck dancing, and ass kissing. This is the only way you make money. Somebody who actually has real talent doesn't have to do this. They can say, okay, if you want my endorsement, this is what you're paying me. Versus, this is what we're going to flick at you in order for you to endorse us. Despite the fact that you've been endorsing us for how damn long and we have given you nothing. But we might decide to give you something if you keep on doing it. We'll give you some crumbs. And that's exactly where they rank. The amount of money that Kamala Harris gave to Roland Bussy Martin, I don't think they gave anything to Download D.L. Hughley. And Al Sharpton's stupid ass. That should show you how relevant they really are. They don't think highly of them, because if they thought they were valuable, that's who they would have been funding. And these are people who have more experience when it comes down to politics. They thought that a damn singer was more valuable. Beyonce Knowles had more value to get paid more money than Al Sharpton. I mean, this is a guy who, what is he on, MSNBC or CNN, one of these two outlets? So he has more experience, whether you agree with him or not. He has more experience in the field, and rather than Kamala Harris financially backing those who have more experience, who can actually tell you something about politics, which is something that Roland Martin can actually do, whether you like him or not. I'm just going to call it for what it is. Which is something that Al Sharpton can do, whether you like him or not. I'm calling it for what it is. But this just is a furthermore indictment on their character, and it goes to show you their authentic numbers when it comes down to value. No matter where somebody places them at and say, oh, they rank at this level. No, now you see their true authentic numbers. You are very low at best. Even despite the fact that you have, in the particular category or application, you are more experienced than a goddamn singer. They would rather pay more to a booty shaker or rump shaker than get somebody who's more so a political analyst. That just goes to tell you enough about what you're dealing with here. Because this is what happens when you are willing to sell your soul for so cheap. At the end of the day, you become that female that on the desperate of nights that you might get a look at. Somebody might decide to give you a Happy Meal. Just sneak in this room real quick. Don't be seen. Keep your mouth shut. And then when it's time to go, you leave out one door, I go out the other. That's Roland Bussy Martin and Download D.L. Hughley and Luke. That's the category that they fit in. They're not respected. They don't come to them for much of any goddamn thing. It's just a desperation attempt. All right, we might decide to come to you depending on how desperate we are to win this election. And that's exactly what they did. And this is what happens when you are willing to sell your soul for so goddamn cheap. And the thing is, we've seen this time and time again with all of these endless bootlegs who think they're going to go out here and think that the white man's ice is colder. You all end up dealing with the same reality in the end. is that when white supremacy is done with its tools, it always breaks them. And you can tell that these are an enclave of Negroes who have been buck broken for a very, very long time now. And with that being stated, that's all I got to say in this production. And I'll catch you on the next one.